Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As you can see by the title of today's video, here to teach you the max plus ones that you should use for your build in NBA 2K25. And as you can see, we're here on the NBA 2K Lab website. Again, shout out to them. I've collected a lot of data from their website and all the time that they put in at Community Day, including Spillboy and Koza and stuff like that. So I really do appreciate them for getting all this information. Now, in my video, I'm compiling it and condensing it into an easier to digest form for you, and just to make it a lot easier for you to find what you want to put on your build, because all of these are going to change based on your height. So let's just introduce you to how the system works first, then I'll show you my notes tab, compiling all that stuff, and we will, exit the website. But again, shout out to them for all the information they've compiled here. So the way this is going to work, you see a lot of 1s and 2s on your screen right now, I'm sure, right? So like we have, for instance, Aerial Wizard is a tier 2 badge for every single height. We'll go over all types of badges that are tier 2s for every height. We'll go over all types of ones that are tier 1 for every height. Like for instance, Deadeye right here, as you can see, is all 1s across the board. So if you see it blank, that obviously means that the build can't get the badge. If you see it tier 1, that means it's a tier 1 badge. If you see it tier 2, it means it's a tier 2 badge. That happens on the back end and the front end, depending on, the height restrictions. Like Ankle Assassin, you can't get on 6'11 plus. For instance, Box Out Beast, you can't get on 6'2 and below. So that's pretty easy to understand, right? So with the tier 1 and tier 2, however, tier 1 is considered a good badge for the height, aka it's a very desirable one. Tier 2 is going to be something that you would think based on the height is not very desirable. So let's just go over like a really good example that I want to show you first and foremost. So like for instance, High Flying Denier, it's a nice little budget one. You get it tier 2 in anything that can possibly get it. However, obviously it's still height restricted in some cases. But then like a Movable Enforcer, it's a good budget one. It's a pretty good badge, but it's tier 2 for everything. Now, why it's weighted this way, let me show you with like Limitless Range, for instance. The game acknowledges that Limitless Range is a very good badge for smaller builds, but then kind of scales it back a little bit differently when it comes to those 7-1, 7-2, and 7-3. So those are the final three that you see right here. That's 7-1, 7-2, and 7-3. So Limitless Range, for instance, is going to be something where if you make a stretch big that gets the Limitless, this is going to be a really good one to use a max plus one on, because if you make a 7-1 stretch that has an 86 three-pointer, it will only be bronze Limitless, but then you can max plus one it to silver. And that's pretty fire, I gotta say. And there are some really good combos in this that I've, obviously accumulated that are going to be really worth talking about in today's video. So the way these work, essentially, is you get a max plus one for each tier per season. So you get a tier 1 and a tier 2 max plus one. I know it's a lot of numbers using 1s and 2s and stuff, right? You're going to hear that a lot in today's video. But yeah, pretty much the way to explain it is you're going to have a high tier and a low tier that you get to use the max plus one on as you unlock them through the season upgrades. So we're here to show you what are the best ones to use for your height. I know it's a long intro, but I appreciate you guys for sticking through it. Now let's go over to the Twitter and I'll just go over my notes app and get you guys all the info that you need for your build. Alright, so I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you do, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new to them, noties, all good stuff. And like always, try 1 to 2,000 likes. Now, I do want to give a quick shout out. If you guys want to check out the takeover one, I did this in the same format where I pretty much just show you the best takeover you could possibly run for your build. And there's multiple different types of them. So if you want to check that out, feel free to as well. But now let's just get into the kind of the basics. So this is where I want to start. And I actually had a second screenshot that's going to be a lot more viewable than this one on this format. So as you can see, we have a lot of no matter what's on tier 1 and tier 2. So this goes for any height in the game pretty much. So tier 1, no matter what, it's going to be things like Bailout, Deadeye, Physical Finisher, Set Shot Specialist, Unpluckable, Versatile Visionary. I don't know why that's in there. That's why I put a question mark, because that's kind of crazy to make a build badge like that such a desirable one, quote unquote. But besides that, for the tier 2s, no matter what build, you have Dimer, Immovable Enforcer, Float Game, Aerial Wizard, Layup Mixmaster. It's technically height capped to 7 foot or up, but I just wanted to say for anything that was below 7 foot, you get it as a tier 2. Or Hook Specialist, up to 7 foot. These are the caveats, that's why I didn't want to mention them too much, but let's just kind of backtrack here, So like I said, if you happen to not have any good tier 2s on your build height, you'll at the very least be able to put something like Dimer, a movable Float Game, Aerial Wizard on, right? So that's okay. I think something like a Movable and Dimer, they're decent, like kind of fix me up type things where it's going to be okay. It's not great, but hey, it's at least something that's not useless as far as a tier 2. And you're going to see a lot of that for point guards, because I'm going to be real with you, like I told you guys earlier, it seems that a lot of the small guards are going to have a hard time in this as far as finding a good tier 2 to put on their build. And then, again, for the tier 1s, you'll at the very least never be able to get something like Deadeye, in tier 2, you know, so just don't expect that you're gonna be able to cheese a badge like that, or bailout, for instance. Unpluckable as well. So anyway, now let's finally get into the breakdowns of your build specifically. So as you can see, for small PGs, I've come to the conclusion that, you know, obviously you're gonna have whatever you want for a tier 1 that's considered a good badge. So like, you can do anything you want between limitless handles for days, unpluckable, shifty shooter. Obviously there's a multitude of different badges that you could do for this, lightning launch, all that stuff. So for tier 2, there's nothing at all. Like, I'm talking any PGs that are all the way up to, like, you know, even 6'4", 6'5", anything like that. There's nothing you can do. And then at that point, you don't even unlock anything good as far as 6'6" to 6'8" in tier 2 besides like paint patroller, removable, rebound chaser. As you can see, like, I've still come to the same conclusion that for point forwards and stuff like that, dimer and layup mixmaster are pretty much all you can put on your build that's useful, in my opinion. So anything you're making to be a point guard, like I'm talking, you don't want anything defensively, you don't want a movable enforcer or anything like that, you know, none of that stuff. If you're just an offensive point guard, you're going to be coming out here with literally just one, and then the other one's kind of useless, to be honest. Now, I still think dimer is going to be a cool one to use, and I think it's going to be an underrated one. And I like that for the sake of the balance of this game, that a lot of these scoring heavy guards are going to find themselves kind of having to just put dimer up. So it will be good for the sake of catch and shooting in this game, that just naturally has to happen a lot for people in this game, because it's going to be a thing. These point forwards and point guards, I mean, dude, they don't have anything for these tier 2s to use as far as the max plus ones. But again, the reason we're even talking about dimer and layup mixmaster on smaller guards and point forwards and stuff like that is because you get them on any build. It's not even anything special about the point guard like heights or anything. It's literally just, that's the type of badge style that fits the playstyle more, in my opinion. And you could still throw things like aerial wizard and float game and immovable on, but again, you're going to be, you know, probably not really relating that to your gameplay too much. So for the locks, the top tier badges that are the tier 1s, you know, you got things like on-ball menace, glove, challenger, spot up specialist, stuff like that. For the tier 2s, I think the best thing you could possibly put on is going to be that immovable enforcer. I think that's going to be a valuable badge for you as a lock, and it's going to be something that, you know, like I said, every build gets, but it's something that naturally seems that it'd be good for you to upgrade it as a lock. If you have interior defense / block on your build though, something like paint patroller is really good value. To be fair as well, you technically can get the high flying denier on these builds, but I didn't throw it on here. You could definitely still put that on the lock though, if you happen to have the block and you'd rather have the chase down buffing badge rather than the rim protecting buffing badge. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options between that, but nothing super crazy. Now, once we get into like the 6'8", 6'9" range, into like 7'1s", I think that's where these type of things really eat a lot. So the tier 1, tier 2 system, it really benefits 6'8" through 7'1". That's what I'm pretty much trying to say. So with the 6'8" undersized center, it still applies to 6'7s and 6'6s, but who makes those is why I put this. But yeah, so for me, like for instance, right, I'm really excited for something like this because I make those 6'8" inside centers, and you can be able to run something like posterizer, rebound chaser, or interceptor in tier 1 and still be able to run box out beast, brick wall, paint patroller, stuff like that. Don't read too much into lightning launch right here. I meant to put that in the point forward sort of deal. So if you make a 6'9" point forward instead of like a 6'8" to 6'6" or something like that, you actually get lightning launch in tier 2. So you'd be able to get limitless and lightning launch. It's actually a really cool perk about 6'9s. We'll talk about 6'9s a lot moving forward. I just didn't want to throw it in the lockdown one because I thought you guys get confused, but go figure, I put it in the wrong spot. Anyway, this is meant to be in the point forward section, so just put that in your mind. But yeah, for the undersized bigs, like I said, something like box out beast, paint patroller, brick wall, I think those are pretty good values. Brick wall especially, and then combine that with being able to run like poster or rebound chaser, I think that's pretty cool. 6'8 is where you finally get something that's actually worth running. Now, for 6'9", however, this is the best one in the game in my opinion. This is truly something that's going to extend the limits of a 6'9", in my opinion. Whether it's that they lack elite perimeter defense or elite steal or anything like that. The badge max plus ones, 6'9s are going to eat off like crazy. So again, you have things like interceptor and glove in tier 1 while also still having on-ball menace and challenger in tier 2. So if you want to make like a true blue on-ball lock at 6'9", you could run glove in tier 1 and then on-ball menace in tier 2. So you're extending the abilities of the types of badges you can even get with the on-ball defensive like related things. Now if you want to make a back end at 6'9", which I think could really catch on in this game just because of these types of max plus ones and just the fact that like 6'8 is a little bit undersized for back ends, but like people, you know, it's going to depend on how good the mashing is in this game. But if you want to go taller because it is good, or like, you know, standing dunks are tough to deal with at a smaller height or anything like that to defend them, you could go 6'9" to make a good interior defending build and then use max plus ones on something like challenger, where if you're stepping to the point guard off pick and roll defense and you have to get a, hedge defense and shade that type of shot contest on him, you need to step out and actually run out and contest him. Challenger would be a really good thing to put that on. And then again, Interceptor is something that's a top tier badge for those back end builds, where because you step so high and then you want to recover back to the paint and you were just showing on the hedge and then you got back to the big as he's rolling, the Interceptor is something that would be super valuable. So for 6'9s, I see a lot of value with them in terms of them being buffed by these max plus ones. It's a really good height in terms of adding all those things. And again, if you did make a point forward version of it, you can get that lightning launch at 6'9 as a tier 2 badge. So really cool height. It's got a lot of really cool niche things about it. And as much as I was dismissing it in the builder, when I was there at Community Day, I was not really thinking it was going to be such a good height. A lot of the ratings just didn't seem to line up very good in my opinion. But now, because of the max plus ones really relating to that, in the long game, I think this could actually be really worth. But again, you are going to have to be on top of getting that season XP to even get these in the first place. So you got to keep that in mind. Also, in case you guys didn't know, I'm pairing with NBA 2K Labs again this year. So in this time around, since it's so early, they're going to have early content such as the ratings you need for each badge and all the requirements with that are listed in, visual form. We also have each takeover ratings boost, all the ratings that are boosted by every takeover. And a lot of this info, it's stuff I'm interested in seeing. Like that, for instance, is something I didn't spend my time on the game looking for. So you'll find it on their website, as well as the fact that I am super interested in that myself. So I'll be checking it out. And then also, as soon as the game drops, they're going to look for every animation requirement and list that on their website as well. All right, so as for the premium content, this is where the banger is. Now, obviously, this is 2K24 information right here. To get the 25, you're gonna have to subscribe, but 2K Labs is cool enough to let me show you the 24 info as an example. So, for instance, you got a lot of different ways to sort it through here. You can look through green window, speed, you can look for the fastest millisecond jump shot, you can look for the total make percent. So, for instance, on the early, middle, and late end of the green window, what the chances are, then all that combined into the total average. You can look through the most makeable shots to the fastest ones with the biggest green window, to the ones that fit your position group between the guards, wings, and bigs. It's fire. You can find the bases and the uppers in here and combine that for the best possible statistical jump shot, and it's just a huge tool, so shout out to them for that. And then you have ranking of dribble moves per category, so it's going to be like behind the backs ranks against each other, showing you which ones are the best. There's like a letter grade on each of them tested by Koza, so he's going to be ranking all those dribble moves in each category. And then we also have dribble practice tools, so it's going to be showing you exactly how to do the moves on the controller, and then you can replicate it on the controller in their website as well. So for anyone interested in supporting me while also getting access to the content, you can go ahead and subscribe to the 2K Labs Premium right here on NBA2KLab.com. And then when you click register, it'll allow you a chance to put in a creator code of someone you want to support. And then if you put in code Laker at checkout, you'll get 20% off of your whole purchase right there. And not that some of you guys care, but just to let you know, I get a percentage based off only your initial purchase. So if you got the monthly, I would only get a percentage based on your first month. So if you do want to support me a little bit and plan to get like 3 to 6 or even a year-long subscription, feel free to get those and I would really appreciate it. But I get that not everybody wants to. So if you want just the monthly as well, that's cool too. So anyway, that's code Laker at checkout. Appreciate you guys for watching. None of that, let's get back to the video. 6'10 centers though, you can benefit a little bit off this, so it's more for like the kind of point centers, if you will. You get cool things like lightning launch. High flying denier, like I said, is something you can get for any height that's above like 6'6 or something like that in the tier 2. Challenger, like I said, again, it'd be a decent thing to have. I think you can have 82 Primdy on 6'10s, and then you can max +1 that to get like gold Challenger. I think that's a pretty good little deal right there. It could actually make them even playable on back end. And then you have things like brick wall, rebound chaser, poster, rise up, all the classic center stuff in the tier 1. And that's why really a lot of this video is more so telling you guys about what are good values at tier 2, because a lot of the tier 1s are things you'd already expect, like rebound chaser and rise up. That's going to be a tier 1 for any build that's just tall, because that just makes sense. Whereas things like limitless, you can see for a 6'11, that is tier 1, but then like I said, for 7'1, you get something like limitless in tier 2. That's really cool, and that's why it's going to be, I'm telling y'all, anything 6'8 through 7'1 is just going to have a lot of interesting kind of dynamics on how to spin these. But anyway, moving along, we have a 6'11 Giannis type build. So this is pretty much like my 6'11 point center I was telling you guys about. And as you can see, there are some definitely really interesting combos with this as well. So at 6'11 is where posterizer becomes a tier 2 badge. And that is fire for the 6'11s because they get 93 driving dunk. So it maxes out at gold posterizer, but you can max +1 that to Hall of Fame. And if you wanted to just be a dunking machine, you could put rise up as well. So you'd be looking at a deal where you have like, let's say 93 driving dunk and then 95 standing dunk, whatever it was for Hall of Fame rise up. You could use your max +1 to move your rise up from Hall of Fame to legend, and then your posterizer from gold to Hall of Fame. So as long as you're able to dribble with a build like this, that type of build as a slasher could be really lethal because of these. And if you wanted to be a little bit more traditional, you don't want to go with that rise up sort of venture, you could go with the rebound chaser as well in the tier 1. So it's a really special height in terms of getting that posterizer and rebound chaser together while even still having the driving dunk that makes posterizer worth it, because as you keep going taller, it's going to be a lot less and less worth because you can't get the contact dunks for driving dunks at like 7-1 plus, you know. So anyway, that was a really interesting sort of mesh right there that I really like to see in my personal perspective as someone who wants to use that Giannis type build. For someone like Joey and Tonic out there, 6'11 is pretty special because you get shifty shooter in tier 2 while still being able to get something like limitless, deadeye, or set shot specialist in tier 1. So let's say you just want to be a shot making aficionado, right? You just want to buff your shooting. Simple as that, like wide open even for that matter. Set shot specialist in tier 1 and then shifty shooter in tier 2 makes it so any shot that you take in the game is going to be buffed, because you're going to be either buffing your open standstill shooting or your, you know, off the dribble like fading and stuff like that, or even just being able to just put the ball on the floor and then shoot like on some one dribble pull up stuff. So yeah, biggest winners of this whole like kind of badge tiering system as far as the max plus ones: 6'9", 6'11", and then 7'1". I think those are the 3 biggest heights that benefit off this system. 7-footer is tough. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't look great in terms of what to go for. Posterizer was a decent tier 2. Obviously you have like Aerial Wizard, High Flying Denier. These were guaranteed. Hook Specialist, it's the tallest you can possibly be while still getting it in tier 2, so that's at least something a 7-footer has going for it. If you wanted to be like a 7-foot post scorer, you'd be able to run something toxic, you know, in the tier 1 that's gonna you know, be more related to your post scoring, and then you could run Hook Specialist in tier 2. So for the post scorers out there, if you wanted to take advantage of the system, 7 foot is at least something decent to look out for. But obviously, you kind of want to be taller as a post scorer anyway, so it's a little bit tougher to vouch for that. But again, when you get into 7-1 plus, Hook Specialist then becomes a tier 1 badge, and then you're going to be restricted to like anything else that's being shown in this case. But anyway, for the footers, you can see we have the Rebound Chaser, Rise Up, Paint Patroller, stuff like that I'm deeming is just a good big man badge to run in the tier 1. Then yeah, you're kind of restricted to just poster. It's like, well, your driving dunk's not probably great with this. It's possible you have like 87 to be able to get driving contact dunks, so maybe poster is something that's okay. You're only going to get it to like silver to gold though. Aerial Wizard, okay. High Flying Denier, if you wanted to run something like Paint Patroller and High Flying Denier and just be a shot blocker, this could be a good combo because it's obviously combining a tier 1 with a tier 2 right there. So I think that's a decent little look. But yeah, 7-footers don't really benefit off this very much at all. 7-1 stretches are huge winners in this case because they get limitless in tier 2, and then combine that with running like Deadeye or Set Shot Specialist, that'd be crazy, bro. Like 7'1" min wingspan is going to come out with 86 3-pointer and to have silver limitless and like gold Set Shot Specialist, and you'd be able to just literally be a hash shooter probably in that case. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm just insisting that if any build can do it, it's going to be this, because think about that. I mean, granted, you could be a 6'11 and still get that limitless as well, which I'm acknowledging is just, it's cool that you can get limitless in tier 2. That's all I'm trying to say. But ironically, you can't get limitless and set shot specialist together as a 6'11. You'd have to be 7'1 to be able to do that, because limitless needs to move to tier 2 to allow you to do that. Because like I told y'all, set shot specialist is a tier 1 for every single build in the game, because they understand that wide open shooting is a widespread thing that every build wants to do. So it finds its way into the tier 1 for every build. But yeah, 7-1 looking really cool. You got stuff like Interceptor popping up here as well. Interceptor will apply to any 7-1 plus build, and for that matter, all of these apply to 7-1 plus builds. So really, there's nothing just about the 7-1 stretch. It applies to everything else that's 7-1 plus. But yeah, the reason I'm not showing you what does a 7-1 plus big man get off stuff like this is because they don't get anything cool in terms of like, if you can't shoot the ball, it's not really anything you're benefiting, in my opinion. You're just going to have stuff like High Flying Denier, and that's about as simple as that, which is okay. You know, when you have a build, when you have a badge like that benefits that type of, when you're running at full speed, like chase down block sort of thing, the type of range you have on a build that's 7-1 plus is already really good. So to add High Flying Denier a level up, in my opinion, is definitely still good on builds like this. But yeah, so for 7-1 plus, in general, tier 2 badges, we have things like High Flying Denier, Interceptor, Limitless, Posterizer, which again is pretty much useless in my opinion in that regard, Off-Ball Pest, Immovable Enforcer, and Float Game. So 7-1 pluses, I mean, if you're not using Limitless, it's kind of mid, other than High Flying Denier. So that's what you're going to find yourself using. And again, that means any badge that you like, very likely, like you'd be asking me anything, it's going to be a tier 1. Like, for instance, we have, like, let's say Paint Patroller, Rise Up, Rebound Chaser, Box Out Beast, all that is going to be tier 1. So you can get tier 1 badges and then combine that with running something like Limitless as well. But that's why I just wanted to tell y'all, you know, 6'11 plus stretch bigs are looking really good in terms of benefiting off of these. So besides that, if you weren't very interested in this, obviously you could go the whole year without like actually buying the season pass or anything like that, or really even grinding the season XP. I mean, I still think these are gonna be useful though. Like if you compare a level 40 point guard to a level 1 point guard in terms of the season XP, that's gonna be a buff of one of these great badges up top and Dimer. But like again, that's not worth spending $25 on to like, or you know, like to buy your way all the way to level 40, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't consider doing that in my opinion. The only build you could ever make an argument for that in my opinion would be the 6'9. But even that still, that's crazy to try and do something like that every season. So if you want to buy the season pass, I'm not gonna lie, I've done that a lot in the past, and you get rewarded VC to even compensate that. So I'm not here to explain that because dudes are gonna start calling me a sellout and nonsense like that. But if you're ever gonna spend any VC on 2K, I'm telling y'all, the season pass in 2K24, it went hard. It gave you as much VC as you ever spent to even get the thing, and then you still get all the perks of like the faster XP, the instant 10 extra levels, stuff like that. So I'll be getting the season pass, I'll tell you guys that much, but again, you obviously don't really have to get into that cycle yearly if you don't want. It depends. Obviously, these are better than like the floor setters last year. The floor setters were definitely mid, didn't actually benefit you gameplay wise, it just made grinding a little bit easier. But these right here are actual gameplay enhancers. So it's not truly pay to win because like I just told y'all, I mean, it's just the difference between like one level of handles for days on a point guard and then Dimer. But it's still something that's actually worth looking into, and I wanted to at least put this together and give you guys an idea for what to be able to plan for in terms of what height you are and what your playstyle is. So that's all for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new to noties, all good stuff. Like always, try to one to 2,000 likes, and if you made it to the end of the video, put max in the comments to show purchase my way through. Anyway, that's all. I appreciate you guys watching. Again, shout out to 2K Labs. I'm probably running the plug either here or somewhere earlier in the video. I probably put it earlier in the video, but they really did come through with the information right here. And if you guys do want to check out their premium, there's a lot of really good information that's bound to come on that as far as the, you know, jump shots and stuff like that and all the testing they're going to do when the game actually drops. So I'm definitely going to be tuned in. But anyway, I appreciate y'all for watching. This is the last video we're posting before actual content comes out. And let me tell you guys, we're coming in hot with a lot of helpful information before well, as the game drops. So anyway, that's all for the video. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one when we're actually into some real content with the game. I'm really excited, and I'll catch y'all next time. Other than that, TD man, peace.